Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I've said quite often that the companies, the publishers, they're putting out 80 odd books a month. They should give at least one or two, or just start to curate some titles from some of the classic creators that are still out there, still won't work, still can do incredible work, and how frustrating it is not to see this. A number of you in the comments have expressed the same. Why can't these people do it? And you've pointed out things like, well, wait a minute. You say on one hand that Walt Simonton doesn't want to do a regular book. And then, I can't help but notice over there he's doing this little book, Ragnarok, as an indie book, and seems to be handling the schedule just fine. So what gives? Well, it's been a source of big complaint for me. I'm frustrated, but I do acknowledge the steps they have taken. Having Peter David on some Hulk books is good. But kind of the 2023 starting out right, and credit is credit, credit where it's due. Marvel Comics has a book out right now, and I think it's one of these 5-issue limited series books. They actually should state that on the cover. It wouldn't be a bad idea, but it's called The Avengers War Across Time. And it is doing itself no favors by putting some trade dress and other things on the front of the book that make it look like it's a facsimile copy or some other things. They should make it clear this is a new comic with a new story. But this is by the team of Paul Levitz and Alan Davis, and both proving that, Jesus, right now, get them onto the book. I mean, get them onto the main Avengers book. We just got the announcement that Jed MacKay is going on to the Avengers, but what are you doing? I mean, this is your team right here. This is clearly the way to go. So, Alan Davis is doing the penciling and the inking. Once again, proving me wrong that that's going to look bad. He does a great job here. The ink lines look incredibly clean. Unless I miss my guess, this does look digital in Made. There's some little clues here and there, but I may be wrong. He may be doing this. He may not be doing this there. The only kind of thing that isn't fully a throwback is you've got Rochelle Rosenberg, who is doing the coloring, and it's not bad. There's nothing inherently terrible about it, but there are some pieces where you could just tell they're using kind of some of the more modern techniques for hair and other things, and it winds up muddying Alan Davis's lines a little bit, and I think some of the gradients in the backgrounds, it actually takes away from the kind of the pop that you get in certain places. But this comic, again, the big negative here is on the front and the way the cover is laid out. It does make you think this is this isn't new, but it is new. And if you're not buying it, get out there and buy it. It's great. So this comic is basically sandwiched kind of right after Avengers number 11, the original 60s Avengers 11. And they are coming back, the Avengers, in this case, Giant Man, the Wasp, Thor, Captain America, and then later joined by Iron Man. They're coming back from Mexico after their adventure. And we get a little bit of here's the thing. Paul Levitz, again, not a name you hear tons in terms of a writer or somebody that is doing a great job. He is doing a pitch perfect version of these characters. And as we've talked about characters who, the personality shifts, or the writer has them saying just bizarre stuff from time to time that doesn't fit at all the personality of what's going on. In this case, Levitz is writing a fairly pitch perfect version of the Avengers, Kang, and a lot of supporting characters. One of the things that I thought was great about this comic is that there's a lot of background activity happening from, kind of all kinds of members of the Marvel Universe. You've got Betty Brant, you've got mentions of Jameson, Rick Jones making a brief appearance because there's a Kang story, of course he is. But you've got a lot of little moments in the background, and there's a little bit of a promise here kind of later on that Spider-Man's going to come into the picture, and we're going to get a couple other things happening here. But it manages to sew up some continuity of a Spider-Man robot, which was the kind of the from an earlier plot line in the Avengers. It makes reference to that, so it's deep in continuity. But if you're reading this, you're not going to be lost. It's not so tied to the past you have no idea what's going on, because the characterization is so damn solid. It also benefits from the fact that you're dealing with Kang. And so one of the ways that Kang is more menacing in this book is the writer and the artist have the benefit of, the last 60 years of comics. So even though this is set in that past, and I'm not a huge fan of that, but even though it's set there, I'll explain that comment in a moment. Even though it's in that era, Kang is a time traveler. So we're able to see tiny little things in the background where, there's, if this book came out, if you read it kind of right after issue 11 of the Avengers, they hadn't introduced the Silver Surfer yet. They hadn't introduced these later Iron Man armor states yet. A bunch of different things. There's some, little model of Alpha Flight kind of tucked in the back there. None of these concepts existed there, but it makes sense because Kang is a time traveler, so it makes sense he'd have him in his armory, and so it makes him more threatening by, he is aware of all the changes to the Marvel universe that this moment in time is not. So it's a cool thing. Anyway, Alan Davis, we got deep backgrounds. We've got, just there they go. It's you find yourself admiring things like Hank Pym and Janet fly into the lab, and you've got all the detail drawn there, tons of beakers and equipment, and there's no cheating on this storyline. When we get into the action, we drop some of the backgrounds and this is where the kind of some of the gradient colors, I think, defeat the book a little bit, but you just have tons and tons of detail here from an artist who, again, Marvel keeps reminding us doesn't want to do a monthly book, but here he is. So in short, this book is setting up a time travel kind of caper with Kang. There's the robot Hulk, which Kang was using at the time, these kind of robots disguised as humans. It's got the heart of actual Hulk. Some pretty good menacing scenes throughout all this. So again, some nice references to different parts. We get a big, nice battle throughout New York City with tons of iconic New York City icons and parts of the city there. It's just, hell, Alan Davis and Levitz even managed to work in Tony Stark Iron Man's stupid roller skates and have it not be dumb. The other piece is here, it makes you kind of just sad for where it all went. You see this relationship with Janet and Hank, where Janet is flirting with everyone like she did at the time. But, the relationship between the two is strong, and you get some, you get a sense that this is a loving couple. This is a boyfriend, girlfriend. It does. I mentioned the, changes to the character that just kind of warp the character forever. As you're reading some of Hank Pym's dialogue, you can't help but remember where he's going. But anyway, it's really good. So, it's often that we complain about various things, and especially when I say I want to see more of these classic creators. I want to see more of these books that really care about continuity and storytelling, and the characters all have a very unique voice and all that. These are things I ask for and routinely complain about. So when somebody actually delivers it, you should shut up and acknowledge it. Acknowledge it that somebody did something great. So the book, as I said, is Avengers. It is War Across Time by Marvel. It's a number one issue is out now. I think it came out about a week ago. Paul Levitz, Alan Davis. It is a beautiful, beautiful book, and nice. Again, it's also, you read this, it doesn't feel like you read it in 2 minutes. It feels like there's a decent, lengthy story here, packed full with a bunch of great character work. So definitely one of the best comics I've read this year so far. Off to a good start. As I said, I think this is a 5-issue series, as I recall, and definitely looking forward to that. But go out, check this out. Honestly, a really good, solid book. You'll like it. Thanks for listening.